Sorry, you had to turn your phone on. Anxiety on that issue. Sarah?
Yeah.
Great.
Fire, fire, Shabbat Shalom. It's still like 12 minutes.
Anybody will put a little bit of cross up there? Found that in one of the spots.
There's probably.
Well, we should also find all.
It was right from Shabbat.
Oh, no, I'm certain it was from my 4-year-old.
Ah. I mean, we'll make it a program, we're gonna write you the state, so. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I knew. Oh. I've not used the blog around the last day. So you can't. Yeah. No, let's just sit and review something. No, you carry the price of actually doing some stuff. Oh, because I can't, I'll get about Friday. What they all the it's all trying to. Oh, yeah, of course, that was not what I meant. I didn't see what we did. There's somebody. Yes, see that being paid, that's the way I send it. You know, I wrote it, he's getting behind, I'm sorry. Oh, God, I was right now. Right. Should be behind it. Well, we are the, it's the last word to understand yourself. I did for a bit,
Listen up. Don't fall asleep. Watch. And I really got age, so I can't, you know.
You let me know, my friend covered. Yeah. And that's a low. It goes down, I'm not. About you can go down the side. Because it's so funny. I think that is. It's necessarily. It's there, so I think it's there, you kind of took it.
Well, it's really.
Thanks, we're so I never heard it on. Right, Sean?
Yes.
Why they say go down to
Oh, yes.
I probably didn't. I probably don't forget the first time. I stayed in like very long. From the change of families. And just.
One channel.
That's the worst part, I mean, you got to get them shit on six.
Why?
You see, 6, oh, the 1% is only in like about. Yeah, it's not that sure.
We already.
What is it? Eat. Everybody breathes today. Then you have to be touched. Right now, we all the time. No, that's one thing.
As well as someone.
Oh. Oh, yeah, nice. It's great that that's hard. Oh, it's very, you know, it. He was. I mean, I don't think we know all the numbers 500. I know the heat, but oh, no, I don't even. Check. I can get you.
They don't give you accompaniment. I think you can put that on the piano. But it wasn't working. Like it wasn't on, battery died. Try it one more time.
That's good.
Fire, fire, Shabbat Shalom. Fire, fire, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Fire, fire, Shabbat Shalom. Maya Fayom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. It is so good to see all of you here. And from those joining us from afar, I think we got the tech working. It is good to not see you, but to know that you're there. We begin this evening on page 120. Doreen, if you would mind helping us bring in Shabbat by lighting our candles. I do.
Want me to read first? Okay. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Beautiful AC.
You're not going to drink that.
Please join us.
Baruch.
So we're doing Kiddush now, this is the first part of Kiddush, but we want to do the candle blessing. So we're going to switch it over to the candle blessing. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
It was the long day.
Doreen is ready for the challah. The Manischewitz. We sing out to God how amazing it is to be here at Shabbat, to have this beautiful weather finally upon us, the sun coming through the beautiful stained glass. Shiru Ladonai on page 131, English more or less on 132.
Sing unto God on the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God, I will sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shir I will sing unto God a new song.
We welcome in the Shabbos bride on page 138 with the words of Lechadodi.
Lechadodi rakala
Shabbat Havela Chatoti Likratala Shabbat Havela Lecha Dodi Shamor b'zachor b'dibur echad, Kishmiyanu echem yochel Adonai echad, Shemo echad, V'shem tiferet b'lilah. Lecha Dodi lecha לקראת שבת לכולך, יתיברו הברכה, בראש וכלב נצוחה, סוף מצוחה של שבת תפילה. לך דודי Verse 5. Please rise and we face our doors to welcome the Shabbat's bride. גם בשמחה ובשורה תוכנו יעשה כולה ויתחנה ויתחנה Please be seated. Before we move into the words of Shalom Aleichem, I have started this tradition that every once in a while we turn to our neighbors and wish peace be upon you, the official definition of Shalom Aleichem. However, something that's really nice is on Shabbat, typically when you light your candles, oftentimes a parent will offer a blessing for their kids at that time, a private blessing, something whispered in their ears, not done in front of a big crowd. And so we're going to do Shalom Aleichem a little bit different. We'll get to the prayer, I promise. But turn to your neighbors and offer them a blessing, something that you want to give them on this Shabbat. So now that we've had the chance to offer each other blessings, we offer our community, both Harrisburg, the Jewish community, the world, a prayer of peace. Shalom Aleichem on page 142.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashem, Malachei Elyon, B'Melech, Malachei Chaldachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. U'echem Shalom, U'echem Shalom, Malachei Elyon. الحادش Devenu shalom, malachei shalom, malachei Mimelech malachei hamdachim, hakadosh baruch.
We transition from Kabbalat Shabbat, the prayers meant to prepare us out of our week and into Shabbat, to our mandatory prayers with the words of the Chatzi Kaddish, page 144.
Yikada v'yitkada shemei rabba.
Amen.
V'yamad yivrat chirutei v'yamlif malchutei. V'chayer fon yom omen fon u'chayer fon beit Yisrael. Bagala u'bizman karim v'meru.
Amen.
Yishmera v'avoram le'olam ve'amaya.
Yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach yipa'ar v'romam v'yinaseh v'yirhadar v'yithalel v'yithalal shmei kurusha
Rehu.
le'ela min kol bechata v'shirata
Tu shechata v'den chemata.
Damiran ve'aman v'meru.
Amen. We rise in body or in spirit. Turn to page 146 for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu Adonai, Hamivorach. Baruch Hu Adonai, Hamivorach.
Please be seated. On page 148, we read the words of Mari Varavim in the Hebrew together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, pechochma poteach sha'arim, uvitvuna mishanei itim, umechalef et hazmanim, umesader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem berakia kertzono, B'rei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umvei layla, umavdil ben yom uvein layla, Adonai Sevaot Shemo, El Chai v'kayam, Tamid imloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Blessed is the Eternal One who turns day into night, arranges the planets and stars according to God's will. On page 151, we read responsively on the bottom, wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this, holiest of your works, and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We rise once more in body or in spirit for the Shema on page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malachuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושינתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלבתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. On page 158, we sing Mi Chamocha for all of the miracles in our lives, not just the splitting of the sea, but the daily miracles that get us to where we are today.
La 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 la
On page 162, we continue with Vishamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ישראל אותי לעולם. שמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ששת ימים אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שמיים נפש, שמיים נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, ולעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is song on the wind. There's joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived in this world, scattering a song in the silence of the night, and eternity utters a day. We rise in body and spirit, moving into the Amidah.
Eternal God, that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Elohim, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Nadav, Elohei Ne'yah, Ha'el Gadol v'Gibor ba'Adonai, Elyon, Komer Chatarim Tovim, V'Kolei Chachol, V'Zocher Aseh Avot Ve'imot, U'Mevii Gidula Nifnei V'Neyena L'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Moser U'Moshiach U'Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin V'Avraham V'Yitzchak Sarah. אתה גיבור לעולם וחי בחיי אבות למושיע, מחכה לחיים בחסד, בחיים עבור ברחמים רבים, סובלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר הפטורים, ומקיים אמונתו, להישאר לבד, מכמוך בגבורות, ומדום אליו, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצליח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, בחיים נבחר. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בחיים ירדו חסדיו, ברוך אתה אדוני,
We take a minute going through page 179, using the words on our page, using the prayers in our hearts, being in conversation with God. When you're ready, I ask you to find your seat.
Shalom Yisrael tasim leolam. Shalom Yisrael tasim leolam. Shalom Yisrael tasim leolam. B'tov b'necha levadet et amecha Yisrael. B'chol עת ובכל שעה בישמר. Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam.
I'm actually going to ask everybody to turn back to page 174. There's an insertion in the Amidah, which is applicable to today. Today happens to be Rosh Chodesh Iyar. Rosh Chodesh is a special time where we honor the new moon. It happens once a month. And It's special because we move out of the month of Nisan, which has Passover, into this new month, a month of beginnings. It's a moment of beginnings, of freshness, of starting over. So in the middle, we're going to say the blessing over the new month. So it's a bunch of Hebrew, but then we could do it into the English. You ready? Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu. Yale yavo v'yasker zochrenu v'zichron kol amcha beit Yisrael lifanecha l'tova l'chein u'lechesed u'lerachamim l'chayim u'leshalom beyom, top line, Rosh HaChodesh Hazeh. Zachrenu Adonai Eloheinu bo litova. Amen. Ufkadenu bo livracha. Amen. V'hoshienu bo lechayim. Amen. Let's do that in English. Our God and God of our ancestors, our fathers and our mothers, on this first day of the new month, be mindful of us and all your people Israel, for good, for love, for compassion, life, and peace. Remember us for well-being. Amen. Visit us with blessing. Amen. Help us to a fuller life. Amen. May this be our blessing as we move into this new month. We shift our focus for just a few moments. Turn to page 371. We think about our loved ones in need of healing of the mind, the spirit, the body, all those seeking wholeness. We are thinking about Larry Barnes, Arnold Baum, Tracy Dukert, Lois Gallowitz, Joan Gibson, Andy Gordon, David Groft, Judy Hutchison, Jennifer Jones, Honey Kibler, Deborah Nelson, Steve Naiman, Lisa Niabingi, John O'Day, Lori Shepler, Nathan Snyder, Diane Tankle, Clara Taylor, Arlene Yaffe. If there's any other names that you'd like to add to this list, if you're joining us from afar, please put them in the chat for those in the room. We come together singing Misha Berach on page 371.
May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let's say Amen. Let's those in need of healing, with breath wash, save up. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. Feel free to close your doors for just a moment. Let's see. All right, I've got a pocket. There we go. All right. A few of you guys have asked me what's going on with my hand. Carpal tunnel's gotten the better of me, which just meant that I wasn't quite up for writing a sermon this week. So you'll forgive me. Didn't really have the hand capacity to type. So instead, what I want to do is I want to bring you a story, a really special story that I think speaks to this moment in time. You guys always ask me, where do I get my stories? So I'm going to read it from my book. It's from this great companion. It's called Cedra Stories. And what it does is it has stories from our tradition that goes with every single Torah portion. So we're going to look at this Torah portion. So there's no pictures. I'm sorry. I know. Say that for the kids. But no, we're in, this week's Torah portion is Tazeria Mitzorah. So we are in Leviticus. Okay. This is what's going on. The name of the story is called A Wicked Tongue. Hundreds and hundreds of years ago, there lived a man named Shmuel Hanagid. At the time when Shmuel lived in Spain, the Muslims ruled the land and all went well for the Jews. In fact, Shmuel himself, he was the advisor to the king. Not too shabby. Wouldn't you agree? And many people wished to hold such a prestigious position. And some wanted it so badly that they were envious of Shmuel. They would insult him behind his back. They would spread rumors around the city of Granada that Shmuel was out to harm the king, that Shmuel gave the king poor advice, or that Shmuel was looking out for the welfare only of the Jews and neglecting the rest of the people. That's not very nice. That's not in here. It's called commentary. In particular, there was a merchant who sold goods from a little shop just outside the palace walls. He had heard all the rumors about Shmuel, and he believed them all. So he really hated that Shmuel and blamed him for everything that was wrong in the city. Each morning when Shmuel walked to the palace, he passed by the merchant's shop. As he went by, the merchant would run out of his shop shouting insults, and he would chase him all the way to the palace gates. And one day, Shmuel went out for a walk with the king, and on their way, they passed the merchant's shop. As always, as soon as the merchant spotted Shmuel, he rushed out, screaming his insults and his accusations. He was so angry and so full of hatred that this merchant never even noticed the king. But the king noticed him. Arrest that man, the king called to the guards who accompanied him. Throw him in jail until I decide what to do with him. Sitting in his prison cell, the merchant was no longer angry. Instead, he was very frightened. He imagined the king ordering terrible punishments. Perhaps he'll even cut my tongue out, cried the merchant. The more he thought about it, the more sick at heart he became. The tears rolled down his cheeks, and he sat there sobbing for some time. What was the king going to do? Shmuel, my friend, since the insults were directed at you, I will let you command the punishment, so said the king. If that's the case, replied Shmuel, I ask you to release the merchant. Release him! The king could not believe what Shmuel had asked. Why would I release a man who is full of such hatred that he directed his anger towards you every day for so many years? My tradition teaches that one who seeks tshuva, forgiveness, must first learn to forgive. If I were to cut out his tongue, I would only confirm the terrible impression that he has of me and give him a reason to hate me all the more. Let him have a reason to respect me that he has learned for himself. The king did as Shmuel asked, and when the merchant was told that Shmuel had requested his release, he was overjoyed. The next day, when Shmuel passed the shop on his way to the palace, the merchant ran out screaming at him, shouting out, praising him, full of respect this time, rather than hatred and insults. In fact, the merchant spread the word of Shmuel's wisdom and compassion all over Granada. A month later, the king spoke with Shmuel about his act of forgiveness. Once again, you have advised me well. I wish to have the man's tongue cut out, but you showed me a way to replace his wicked tongue with one of respect. Such is your wisdom, and such is my blessing. This Torah portion talks about the leper. It talks about the person who is a plague upon your house, upon your community, the person you want to send outside of your community for all of the sickness, all of the anger, all of the negativity they bring into your community. But what the story does instead is teaches us that there's a way to work with the leper, of rising above, of choosing respect and working together. And I hope in a world where it's the lepers versus the advisors, if you will, we're able to find a way and a path forward to see each other. Shabbat shalom. We turn back into our Siddur on page 586 for the words of the Aleinu on the bottom of the page. We rise in body or in spirit. Hold on. Please be seated. Our hearts turn towards those that we have lost in this season and seasons past. We remember the lives of Norman Bronstein, Benjamin Cantor, Hyman Cohen, Sarah Cooper, Bill Descend, John Fox, Warren Gitlin, Sarah Goldman, Richard Goldsmith, Francis Goodman, Helene Gross, May Gutschmidt, Martha Hurwitz, David Kaufman, Joseph Kaufman, Charles Keebler, Sam Klotzman, David Lang, Judith Margolis, Lenore Miskin, Dorothy Rosenbaum, Sheila Schooler, Tilly Scheinvold, Wiley Strautbach, Joshua Strauss, Benjamin Strauss, Adam Simons, Richard Weiss, Vivian Zelkind, Sydney Sharfstein, and the period of Shloshim, Linda Goldstein. If there's any other names you'd like to add to this list, if you're joining us from afar, you can put the names into the chat and in this room if there's any names. We rise once more, turning to page 598, embody your own spirit for the mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach hirote ve'almich malchute, B'chayachon yomechon, Uv'chayed kol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'meru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mivarach leolam ulmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalao shemei d'kudusha brechu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechamata. Damiram be'alma v'ymeru. Amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shamaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mramav. Uya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, and please be seated. April, O President of Temple Ohev Shalom, want to tell us a little bit about what's going on?
Well, I'm not Raina, so I'm going to try to do it as well as she can. And speaking of Raina, I wanted to share with everybody earlier this week, Rabbi and I went to the county commissioners meeting, and Raina had applied for a grant for us to replace one of our AC units, and we got it. So we were awarded a $75,000 grant to replace one of our units. It's amazing. It's one step in the right direction. There are many, many more steps to come. But there's 5 other units we have to replace on that roof. So it's very exciting. But while Raina's not here, when you see her, when she comes back, please be sure to congratulate her on all of her hard work on behalf of us.
You're enjoying the AC.
Yes. Now, if you are like me and not athletic, but somehow can throw an axe, please be sure to join Brotherhood this weekend on Sunday from 1 to 3 for their annual axe throwing event. I can't do things athletic, but somehow I hit the bullseye every time. Rabbi on Shavuot has the education event that is going to go on all night long.
All night long.
Bring your lactate because it's a dairy-free event or a dairy-only event.
It'll be fruit.
Yes, yes. But we're really excited. There are lots of different ways to celebrate Shavuot with education events and ways to celebrate our Judaism. And then one other thing, we have, obviously all of our great events from Sisterhood and Brotherhood going on throughout the season. June 14th, mark your calendars now. It is our annual meeting, and this year a brunch.
Brunch?
Feeding you. Yes. Food. Our annual meeting has always been a time to discuss what's happening at our temple and what's going on, what's planned for the next year. But we also want it to be a time for all of us to come together and kind of enjoy each other's company. An annual meeting doesn't just have to be business. It can just be us having a meeting together. So I encourage you to put that on your calendar now. And I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you.
Thank you. Help me prove that if you give Jews food, they shall come. I want to tell you a little bit about my day today. I was in back-to-back meetings all day. It was one of those days where I was sitting in my chair all day, looking out my window. And as I was zoning out a little here and there, these 2 little birds kept catching my attention. Right outside my window, a female cardinal is making a nest. It's in the peace garden, actually, in the pine tree. And then in the tree just on the other side of the garden, male cardinal was visiting. And I was watching this love story play out. And it was just so lovely. As meetings, you're like, oh my goodness, it's another meeting, click on, click on. I would just see this female cardinal fly away and then come back with a stick to build its nest. And it was the most amazing thing. And it got me thinking about how special this season is and how it's truly changing from that frigid winter that you all promised me wouldn't be so. Just kidding. Sure. To spring, where frost kind of covers the beginning of blossoms, to what I am hoping is the beginning of summer. And we have a time to mark this change in our calendar, and it's called the Omer. And what we do is we count the time between Passover and Shavuot, where we spend all night studying from 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. here at Temple Sholom. Plug. To count the Omer, and it's supposed to be a time of intentionality, of going a little bit slower, of connecting to nature, and just connecting to the world around you. And so what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to count the Omer. So the blessing is really simple. It's the normal blessing, and it ends with Al Sfirat HaOmer. And then I say a bunch of Hebrew words, which is the day that we are in, and then I'll say it in English. Can we try it together? So again, the words are Al Sfirat HaOmer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer hayom sheshes-rei yamim u'shnot shavuot v'shnei yamim la'omer. Good? Today's the 16th day, which is 2 weeks and 2 days of the Omer. And so for this Shabbat and this portion of the Omer, I wish you to be like that female cardinal in the tree, building a nest for whatever the future holds. We move into our concluding prayer for this evening, none other than fan favorite Adon Olam on page 625. Please join me in the back for Kiddush. Shabbat Shalom.